My boyfriend of 5 years said my proposal was embarrassing and the ring was cheap. I didn't say anything. The next day, I took the ring back, returned it, and used the full amount to put a down payment on my dream car. I drove past him the following day and gave a little honk. So I'm pretty sure I set a new world record last night for the shortest engagement in human history. The official time, according to the imaginary judges in my head, was negative 455 seconds. It was so fast it actually time traveled to ensure it never happened. My girlfriend, well, let's get used to this. My ex-girlfriend Jessica and I had been together for 5 years. 5 years, that's a presidential term. It's longer than the original run of some classic TV shows, and for the first few years it was genuinely great. Then slowly but surely, she discovered the soul-sucking vortex of influencer culture. Our life together stopped being something we lived and became something she curated. A perfect example, last year for our anniversary, I saved up and booked this incredible secluded cabin in the mountains. I'm talking fireplace, starry nights, hiking trails, the whole romantic getaway. I was so excited. She spent the first 4 hours complaining that the forest didn't have good lighting for selfies and that the cabin was too rustic for her brand's aesthetic. Her brand. She sells scented candles on Etsy to about 90 followers. Her brand is making our apartment smell like vanilla. Her friends, the brunch brigade as I call them, are the same. A few weeks ago, I had the misfortune of being present when one of her friends got engaged. I watched Tiffany Madison dissect the poor girl's ring photo on Instagram. 2 carats is so pedestrian and the cut is so 2019. It was a masterclass in cruelty. That should have been my warning sign, a giant flashing neon billboard screaming, "Abort mission, Liam." But I'm a guy in love. We're idiots. So I decided to propose. I spent most of a year saving money. I didn't want to buy her the same generic ring all her friends had. I wanted something meaningful. I went to this incredible local artisan jeweler, a woman named Sarah who works magic with metal and stone. I told her about Jessica, the real Jessica, the one who used to love hiking, and said her favorite color was the deep blue of the sky after a storm. Together, we designed a custom ring. It had this gorgeous, ethically sourced sapphire as the centerpiece, the exact color of that sky, flanked by intricate silver filigree shaped like leaves. It was unique, it was thoughtful, and it cost $10,000. I'm an IT project manager, not a hedge fund bro. 10 grand is a huge sum for me. Yesterday was the day. I planned everything, no crowds, no cliches. I took her to the scenic lookout where we had our first real date 5 years ago. I'd packed a picnic basket with champagne, her favorite fancy cheeses, the works. The sun was setting. It was perfect. I got down on one knee. Her eyes went wide. I pulled out the custom-made wooden box, my heart doing a drum solo against my ribs. I gave her the whole speech about our journey, my love for her, and wanting to spend my life with her. Then I opened the box. Her face, which had been a mask of excited anticipation, just collapsed. Not just fell, it was a full-on stock market crash. She wasn't looking at me anymore. She was looking around like she was worried someone might see us. "Oh my God, Liam," she whispered, her voice the same tone she used when she found a spider in the bathtub. "Is this it? There's not even anyone around to take a picture." My brain felt like a dial-up modem trying to connect to a 1998 website. The screeching was deafening. "I thought that was the point," I stammered. "Just us." She finally looked at the ring in the box. She didn't even reach for it. "It's cute," she said, and the word landed like an anvil. "It's a really nice promise ring maybe, but the stone isn't even a diamond. It just looks so cheap." Cheap? My $10,000 custom-designed, ethically sourced, meaningful ring was cheap. I don't remember standing up. I don't remember packing up the picnic basket. All I remember is the drive home, the longest, quietest hour of my life. She kept sighing loudly every few minutes, a sound designed to goad me into talking, to apologize for the grave insult of my proposal. I just kept my eyes on the road. We got home and she announced she was too emotionally overwhelmed to talk and locked herself in the bedroom. I'm sitting on the couch now. She's probably in there texting the brunch brigade about the horror she just endured. She thinks I'm out here heartbroken, crying over the future we were supposed to have. And part of me is, but a much bigger part of me is on my laptop. The local Ford dealership tab has been open for a month. I've been configuring my dream car online, a Ford Bronco, just for fun. She wanted a rock. I think I'd rather have 300 horsepower. Update: Good morning, Reddit. It's been a wild 18 hours. Thanks for all the comments. Reading them last night while I was marinating in my own misery really helped. I hadn't slept. I just lay on the couch replaying the word cheap in my head on a loop. Around 6 a.m. I got up. Jessica was still asleep in the bedroom, the queen in her castle of disappointment. I grabbed the ring box from my jacket, my wallet, my keys, and slipped out of the apartment quietly. My first stop was the jeweler. Sarah, the owner, was setting up her shop for the day. She saw me walk in, saw the box in my hand, and her warm smile faded. "Oh, honey, no," she said. I just shook my head. "It was cheap," I said. She looked baffled. I gave her the 30-second version of the story. The lookout, the picnic, the sapphire, the promise ring. When I finished, she took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. That girl, she said, doesn't deserve a man who knows what a sapphire is. Her love was conditional on carrot size. You, my dear, dodged a cannonball. As she's a literal saint and a savvy businesswoman who knows a good story, she gave me a full refund. She said she'd put the ring in her display case as a one-of-a-kind piece. I walked out with a cashier's check for $10,000. The responsible voice in my head, which sounds a lot like my dad, told me to go straight to the bank and deposit the check back into my savings. It told me to be smart, to be mature. I told that voice to shut up. I drove straight to the Ford dealership. I walked in with the energy of a man with nothing to lose. The first salesman who approached me, a young guy named Dave with an impressively serious tie, asked, looking to upgrade. Something like that, I said, pulling the check out of my pocket. I just liquidated a failed long-term investment, and I'm looking to reinvest the capital in a more reliable asset, specifically that cactus gray Bronco over there. Dave's eyes lit up. He probably thought I was unhinged, but he also smelled a commission. A 300 horsepower asset with an optional snorkel. I liked it. 2 hours later, after the most liberating round of paperwork I've ever signed, I was the owner of my dream truck. I peeled out of that dealership with the windows down, blasting Queen at a truly obnoxious volume. The new car smell, the engine's roar, it was glorious. I got home around noon. Jessica was in the kitchen, sipping coffee with an expression of profound displeasure. She expected me to come crawling back, full of apologies and maybe a less cheap ring. There you are, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. I was starting to think you were ignoring me. Are you ready to apologize and talk about how we're going to fix this mess? I just looked at her, pulled my new Ford key fob out of my pocket and gave it a little jingle. The Bronco chirped happily from the street below. Can't talk right now, I said. I've got some errands to run. I turned and walked back out the door, leaving her standing there in a state of complete, baffled silence. The look on her face was better than any apology I could have gotten. Final update, good evening, everyone. For those of you following this emotional roller coaster, welcome to the last stop. The final confrontation happened about an hour ago. I got back from a victory drive and Jessica was waiting for me, arms crossed. The benevolent Queen act was gone. This was pure CEO-level fury. Liam, we're going to talk about this right now, she ordered. I've decided I'm willing to forgive you for the pathetic proposal. We can work on it, but we need to go back and get the ring. I had to stop myself from laughing out loud. Oh, the ring, I said, keeping my tone light and carefree. Yeah, that's not happening. I returned it this morning, got a full refund. Turns out the jeweler has a return policy for lack of taste in partners. Her jaw literally dropped. It was comical. You returned it without asking me. What did you do with the money? Oh, that's the best part, I said, leaning against the kitchen counter. I took that $10,000 and in a moment of extreme financial clarity, used it as a down payment on a brand new Ford Bronco. It's parked outside. Her name, Betsy, and she's not cheap, she's built Ford tough. I've never seen a human face contort into so many different shades of anger. It was like a mood ring having a seizure. You spent our money on a truck, she shrieked, and the word our was doing some heavy lifting. No, I said, emphasizing the P, let be crystal clear. I spent my money, which I saved for a year, for your ring that you called cheap and embarrassing, on my truck, which I think is awesome. You made your choice at the lookout. You didn't want the ring, so I traded it for something that'll never look at me with disappointment unless I forget to change its oil. The argument, if you can call it that, went downhill fast. She called me childish, selfish. She said I was throwing away 5 years. Lucky, I said, you threw them away when you valued a public spectacle over a private moment and a price tag over a promise. She did what I knew she'd do. She called in the brunch brigade. A minute later, my phone started buzzing. It was Tiffany. I answered on speaker. Liam, Jessica's distraught. How could you be so immature and cruel? Well, Tiffany, I said cheerfully. She said my lifelong commitment was cheap, so I invested in a V6 engine instead. It's called diversifying your emotional portfolio. Tell her to have a nice life. I hung up, blocked her number, then Madison's, then Jessica's. I told her I wanted her and all her curated belongings out of my apartment by the end of the week. The real ending, the petty little bow to tie it all off, came this afternoon. I was heading out for celebratory pizza and beer. I fired up the Bronco. As I pulled onto the street, I saw her standing on the sidewalk, surrounded by 3 suitcases, furiously typing on her phone, waiting for her Uber. I couldn't resist. I slowed the truck to a near stop. She looked up and saw me. Our eyes locked through the windshield. I gave her a big, friendly, carefree smile. I tapped the horn twice, honk, honk. Then I hit the gas, leaving her and her luggage in a cloud of my dust. Watching her get smaller in my rearview mirror felt like the first day of the rest of my life. She wanted a status symbol, but she didn't realize the man offering it was supposed to be the prize. I guess I'm in need of some repairs, but at least the Bronco comes with a warranty. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Time for that pizza.